Welcome to the Unabridged podcast. I'm Ashley.
And this is Jen.
Join us for bookish episodes and check out our website, unabridgedpod.com, where you can find lots of new bookish content to grow your TBR.
Sign up for our newsletter to find out more about online book discussions and upcoming events. Find us on Patreon for extra unabridged content. Join us on Instagram and Facebook at Unabridged Pod and message us there or see our website to get plugged into the Unabridged community. You want opinions about books? We've got them.
Hi, and welcome to Unabridged. This is episode 293. Today, we are sharing with you all what was previously on Patreon, and it is discussing the pilot episode of Alice Oseman's Heartstopper. We both loved that series very much. I feel like it's been a little while since we shared. If you have not read a really amazing graphic novel series, stop what you're doing and go check out the first one from the library. Those are amazing, and I didn't watch the entire series. Did you, Jen?
Yes, I'm caught up with it.
Okay, but I loved the series. I think it's fantastic. So we're excited to share that with you today. And before we get into that, we wanted to do our bookish check-in. Jen, what are you reading?
I am currently reading Toni Morrison's Song of Solomon with my Chunky Classics Buddy Read group, and I have read this before, but it has been decades. I was I think I was in grad school, but I can't remember for sure. And so I feel like I remember the biggest parts of it, the parts that people write about and talk about. But wow, I've discovered there's so much I've forgotten. We do 2 chats with it, one halfway through, and it was so hard to stop midway through because Morrison's writing is just amazing. And even though it's dark, it is so compelling. But the premise is the main character is Milkman Dead. Milkman is a nickname that he got. I don't want to reveal how. That would be a big spoiler. But he got in this way. It's not a nice nickname. I'll just say that. And he lives with his parents. His dad, Macon Dead, is a really unpleasant father. He is just not kind. He is very abusive to his mother. His mother grew up in a fairly wealthy household in the black part of town. So he's was a doctor. And even though there was a lot of discrimination, he was very respected in their part of town. And so she grew up pretty privileged and then married this man who just has made her life miserable. Milkman has 2 older sisters. All of them are named after characters in the Bible, which is one of the through lines of the novel. And it opens with an insurance agent who has decided that he is going to fly. He has made himself wings, and he goes up to the top of his house and decides he's going to fly. And this is a recurring symbol through the novel, is this ability of men to fly. So it's hard to describe the plot of this one. Milkman's aunt, Pilot, is a large presence in the book. She is Macon's sister, and their father was murdered, lynched essentially when they were children, and that obviously affected their lives ever after. And the way Macon has responded to that is to have this need to own things and to gather a sense of security through owning things. Pilot has really gone in the opposite direction, and she values other things that she can control more, but also shedding things that don't matter because that's a way for other people to control you. And so seeing their contrasting ways of approaching life after trauma is really fascinating. It's a really complex novel, but as always, I use like a whole tin of book darts on the first half of the book. It's so brilliantly written, and there are sentences that just stop me in my tracks. And there are lots of interesting, like Emmett Till is a part of it. So Emmett Till's death occurs as part of the narrative, and seeing how different characters react to the news of that death tells you a lot about who they are. It's just an incredibly complex and brilliant novel, which I feel like should go without saying with Toni Morrison, but every time I read one of her books again, I'm just struck anew by everything I didn't catch the first time through or don't remember catching the first time through. So it's been such a rich reading experience. So that is Toni Morrison's Song of Solomon.
Oh, Jen, I haven't read that one in ages. That makes me want to revisit.
Yeah. At the time that I read it, I was trying to read all of hers, and that I said that one was my favorite. Now, since I've read others, like I've read The Bluest Eye several times, I've read Beloved several times, so we'll see. Yeah, how this, it's hard to pick a favorite. I think it's the one you're reading at the moment, but
Yeah, right.
how about you, Ashley? What are you reading?
So one of the books I'm reading is Rebecca Yarris's Iron Flame. I think I've shared before when I finally picked up Fourth Wing, which was a great decision in mid-winter this year. And now I'm visiting this one, and this is set in a fantasy world. It is very dystopian. Violet Sorrengail is the main character, and it picks up right where book one ends. There is a major reveal at the end of book one that really kind of shatters the way that Violet had understood the world around them. That pivotal piece is very important for Iron Flame, so I don't want to do any spoilers, but essentially, I am really enjoying it. I heard people say it's like really, it could have used a pretty heavy editing, and it is long, but I'm really enjoying it. I feel like, it's fun. It's a fun read, and it does just continue with, again, I mean, she's in this really dystopian society, and she's in a really grueling, she's with the riders who ride dragons, but I mean, it is a brutal training program. And it's brutal aside from the corruption that she's starting to uncover. Just beyond that, in this basic structure, it is a very brutal, very cruel way to train and results in a lot of deaths. And so all of that is terrible. But it also is like a fun read. So that seems contradictory, but it's sometimes true of fantasy and dystopian books. And so I really am enjoying it. And I really love Violet as a character. And Xaden is her partner in many ways, and I really like him too. Things are super complicated between them, and I'm always here for that in books, so there you go. So I won't say a whole lot about the plot, but if you have not yet read Fourth Wing, now the third is out, so good time if you want to pick up if you enjoy doing an entire series, because I think that should be the last.
No, they're going to be 5 books.
Oh, goodness.
So that's why I
disregard, friends. Disregard.
Yeah, I have book 3, Onyx Storm, and I'm trying to decide what to do. Because, of course, I want to read it now, but she said she's going to take more time with book 4. So I'm like, should I just wait and read book 3 closer to book 4? Or should I just wait till the whole series is out and just devour 3, 4, and 5? So I have not yet dived into Onyx Storm.
I'm a little sad to hear that, actually. So disregard what I said and pace yourself appropriately. I don't know. If I'd known there were going to be 5, I might not have started. So 3 is my ideal number, friends. I do not enjoy it when they go beyond that particularly, but that's okay. Nonetheless, that was Rebecca Yarris's Iron Flame, and I am mid-book on that, and it's fun. We hope you enjoy our discussion of Heartstopper and the pilot of that. If you have not yet watched, we would definitely recommend watching prior to listening. And those are 30-minute episodes. And so pretty quick watch to enjoy the pilot if you want to check it out. And yeah, we both had great things to say. So we hope you enjoy this discussion. And then we'll circle back with our lit chat game. Hey, and welcome to this month's Patreon episode. We are so excited to discuss the pilot episode of Heartstopper. This is Alice Oseman's series that Jen and I both read. Jen shared with me, and then I read, and I've posted about it a lot on our Instagram feed. So if you've seen, I was pretty in love with the whole series, and this is... Would you say it's a webcomic, Jen? I mean, it's like
It started as a webcomic.
It's more like a comic series.
Yeah.
Then it is... I'm always reluctant to call it a graphic novel, and I don't know why, but anyway, it is a series. I think it's because they are marked as volumes, and they're pretty quick. But there are 4 of them out so far. There's supposed to be 1 more, which I'm eagerly anticipating.
Yes.
So... we both watched the pilot, and I'm excited to hear what you thought, Jen. And this is on Netflix for people who are subscribing there. You can watch it on there. What are your overall impressions, Jen?
Oh my gosh, I loved it so much. The hardest thing was not immediately just watching the next episode because, I mean, they're short, right? So they're like, the first one I think is 25, 27 minutes, something like that. And they are just the word that's popping in my head is darling. Just adorable. Just so they capture the sweetness of the graphic novels or webcomic adaptation, whatever you want to call them, so beautifully. I think the casting is great. I think I just loved everything about the little animations, the little animated graphics that come on the screen periodically. Just brought that feeling of reading it on the page back. I just really love it. What did you think?
Yeah, same. I thought it was really sweet, and I had such a firm idea of what I thought that they looked like that I spent some time. But I mean, the people they cast really do reflect because it is art and you have seen the characters. The people they cast do look like the characters in a lot of ways, but I still had to adjust, I think, to real boys who were acting instead of the ones I'd created in my mind as I read along. But yeah, I thought the casting was great. And the first time the animation happened, I was like, oh, that's weird. Mm-hmm. And the more that it happened, the more I loved the way that it was integrated. It did really hold true to Oseman's style in the original source material. And that was something I really loved in her work, is that, for one thing, I do think you can watch this and not have read. Mm-hmm. So I do think that's relevant that this is not one where you're like, what's going on? Mm-hmm. I think sometimes that happens with adaptations, but I felt like, at least from episode 1, that it's great on its own and it stands alone. But I loved in the original how she used things like the little leaves and the hearts and stuff like that to kind of reflect emotion. The emotion of the characters were depicted by the way that she would put together these little leaves falling down, or, the hearts that were going across from box to box. So I felt like it was a nice carryover that touched on I was thinking at the time when it was like the rosy background for Nick. I felt like it really captured that essence from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I thought, so it had been a little longer for me, and I think that probably did do me some favors, that I wasn't quite as close to it as you are. Yeah, but I really loved it. And just visually, it's really clever. I think the way it orients you to the school, and it's using these clever cuts and cute camera angles. I mean, it's very thoughtfully visually developed as well. There's a scene where Charlie is eating in his art teacher's room, where we know he was hiding out when he was bullied last year, but now he's there. Yeah, he's just trying to get away. And he's sitting in the corner, and it shoots him from above, and there are these trees painted on the floor underneath him. And so it's just visually so striking, and it's emphasizing just, there's symbolism there. So of course I want to analyze, he is growing, but he is also in this corner by himself because he's trying to work through things. Yeah, that was so just beautiful.
And I felt like it was really visually striking, but also a lot of introduction done very quickly. And I liked that also. I felt like we saw the friend groups really quickly and got to know Charlie's friends and their hesitations and like their concern for him. And I thought we saw all that. And then Elle is an important character. And I was interested in how the series would introduce her. So she's a trans character, and because it's an all-boys school, she is now at an all-girls school, but she had been very much part of their group at the boys' school. And so they're both happy for her that she is at a school for girls, but they're also missing her, of course. And I was interested to see, because I felt like in the books, you have time to unpack her backstory and get to know more about her. But I felt like all of that was really handled in a way that immediately orients the watcher and helps you know who she is and what's going on and how she ties into the friend group. And I thought all that was really great.
Yes.
And quick. It didn't take a long time for us to get a sense of who all of them are and how they fit together. So I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I think the casting, just like you said earlier, all of the characters, they don't look exactly like what's on the page. I mean, the line where they say that Nick looks like a golden retriever. I just chuckled.
I thought that too. I was like, he does.
He really does.
And I mean, he's got this sweet personality. Yes. I mean, and I think sometimes we think of golden retrievers as not being particularly bright, and I don't think that's true of Nick. But otherwise, I do think he is. Yeah. was about to start comparing him to a dog, which maybe I don't need to do. But I did think that was a very astute observation of him as a character if we were to label people as animals.
And that casting just was so perfect for that line. I thought if for no other reason, I mean, he's a great actor. Oh my gosh. And I was so excited that Olivia Colman is his mom. Oh my goodness. And I was reading up on trivia and there isn't a ton about it, but I cannot wait. There's a scene later. I'm just going to go ahead and spoil this one moment. At some point in this first season, he does come out to his mom. And it said the trivia was that she was so moved by the way he acted that she just started sobbing in front of him or crying in front of him. And he thought she was still acting. And then she had to check her script because she had just lost track of what was going on. And I love her so much. And so I just cannot. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to finishing the first season. But then I think it's going to be a tough wait till season 2 because that's what. When I read those books, I had just gotten the first book from the library and was reading it on my kid's iPad. And I was, as soon as I finished it, I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait. And there was a hold. And so I had to wait like a day, not very long, but like a day. And then I just went ahead and checked out the rest because I knew I would not be able to wait until the next book. And I think it's going to be the same for the series. I just want to devour it all right now.
Yes. And you know, Jen, you told me that you had that experience, but very rarely, even when you're like, you're gonna love this book, Ashley, you're gonna love it. So even when you say that, very rarely am I like standing at the gas station, scrolling through reading. That is just very rarely my experience. But that was totally what I did with this book. Like I read the whole thing on my phone, which I think I posted something about that.
Yeah,
that like part of why, I didn't understand. Listeners, if you have not used Libby, it's not obvious, actually. Like, I went through the process 4 times now. And you do have to, like, kind of click around to make it get to the point where it doesn't go to your Kindle, but you read in the app. Like, once I discovered I could do that, I was like, oh, I'll read on my iPad. But then I was so entrenched in the story that I found that I just, like, was reading it on Libby on my phone, and it works fine. So it was funny how, like, I think that's been an obstacle for me. If I can't get the physical copy of graphic novels, I just haven't been reading them. And so that was a nice discovery. But anyway, it also speaks to how obsessed I was with this series that I just was like, I gotta know what's gonna happen. I want to know right now. And I took a screenshot of the last page and almost sent it to Jen. I was just like boo-hooing because it was over. And I was so sad. And then I was like, oh, she's teaching class right now. I'm not going to send her this message. But I mean, I just was like, oh no, like.
I know it hurts to stop. Like
it's just great. I just think everything, and I think you see it in this pilot episode, that everything that they're experiencing is handled with such compassion and nuance. And that is what I appreciated so much. It's just that they are going through so many things and that you experience those with them as the reader. And that here in the first episode, I felt like you saw that. So yeah, I had some trepidation about watching the pilot because I loved the series so much and felt like what I liked about it might be hard to transfer, but so far I felt like it really transferred.
And I mean, I'll just talk about the acting again because Charlie's face, so the actor there is Joe Locke, his face communicates so clearly when Ben is so horrible to him, you just see every emotion cross his face and you feel it so deeply. He is so good at portraying just Charlie's sensitivity and his hopefulness in other people and the way he puts himself out there. And then when Ben is so ugly to him, it just, I felt every moment of it because of the acting and the way the scene is set up. I just thought it was really well done.
Yeah. And that brings me to, do you want to share, Jen, like what was a scene that really was striking for you, that you really loved?
I have a couple, but I'll just say I really loved, there's the moment when Charlie's told that he's going to sit with Nick and he goes over to the table and then they're just saying hi to each other in the hallway. And the way that's all cut, it does such a good job of, they're just acknowledging each other, but in that acknowledgement is this building friendship, this building relationship. And I think the director, producer, editor, all the people involved, not producer, I guess, but the director and the editor who are putting that together, it's such a great way to show very quickly how they just are becoming a part of each other's days. So I loved that. And then I'll stop. I'll let you do one and then I might share another one.
That's what two came to my mind also. So one that I think was striking for anyone who watches the pilot is the scene with Charlie and Ben when Nick steps in. And certainly in the original reading, that moment is when you go from Charlie and Nick saying hi in the hallway to being more real friends. That they, that is definitely a foundational moment for them that kind of leads toward their friendship that then blossoms. But I think what I found so powerful about it is that is a hard scene for teens, especially. And I think, like you said, the casting is really well done, and nobody's looking like they're 27. Right. I didn't look up ages. I don't think anybody's like 27 pretending to be 16. I felt like these are teenagers, and they were able to convey the intensity of that scene really well. And the moment of, I loved in the original, and I felt like you really saw it here, of Nick handling in such a gentle way something that could have been it was catastrophic for Charlie, but the response and having someone see, I think sometimes like adds another layer of all the feelings. So already you're being violated by someone, and that is horrific. But then you have someone see something that's very private that sometimes we just want to hide, even though it's not our fault. And I felt like all of that I just loved. I thought the conversation between them and how we see Charlie's vulnerability, why he keeps saying sorry so many times. All of that, which I just felt like that scene was really, really richly done.
So this isn't a scene, but this is just a general comment on the portrayal of teachers in the show. And I think you see the variety of teachers that are at different schools. So you have, I don't remember all their names, but the one teacher who's telling Charlie that he has to go sit with Nick and he doesn't care if they talk, blah, blah, blah. He's just over it. Then you have the art teacher who is clearly such a support for Charlie, and they talk openly about the fact that Charlie had been bullied the year before, and the art teacher clearly helped. And the one that really hit me was at Elle's new school. She's sitting at lunch by herself, texting her friends. And the teacher comes up and takes her phone, and she's fairly gentle with it. She says, even new students don't get to break the rules. And then she takes her phone. But she does not make any effort to address the fact that she is sitting alone. She knows she's a new student. She mentions it. And she just takes away her one form of connection with people without making any attempt to replace it. And that one just hit me because I was like, I hope that in that situation, I would have done something other than just follow the rules, but not address the person who's sitting in front of you. And again,
Absolutely.
she was friendly, but she didn't do anything to address Elle's situation.
Right. Including why she had out the phone.
Right.
I think exactly like you said. We see her having this meaningful conversation, but we also see her lying to Tao and telling him that she has these friends, because even in that moment of connection with someone she obviously is close with in her text, she still can't admit the truth.
Right.
And so I felt like that was really powerful. And then to follow that up with the fact she's got to hand over the device that she's not even able to tell the truth on, because that's how alone she feels. Right. And then she doesn't even have that to protect her in what we all know it can be extremely painful for kids in this like cafeteria setting.
Yeah.
Like, come on. And it's same. I felt like we saw the teacher as not this like horrible person.
Right.
She's not like the guy, like you said, there's the one guy who's like, talk to him or don't, sit there the whole year. I don't care. Right. So there's definitely like I am a total jerk. And yet this teacher was clearly not that. And yet absolutely she doesn't deal with the reality of somebody who needs a friend.
Right.
Or at least needs someone to sit with so that it seems as if she's not entirely alone. So yeah, I think that part, I agree that we see all those different ways of interacting between adults. And I mean, again, that's something I think is handled really well in the series that we don't get a whole lot of here, but we get into that in the series. And I'm sure that's coming in the adaptation of the family dynamics and what all of that looks like. But how each of those relationships is complicated, but there's a lot of different ways for adults to deal with what kids are going through. Yeah.
All right, let me look. I'm going to look at my list and see. I feel like I wrote down, I have no context for this. I wrote down, I hate being honest. Who says that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm sure I hadn't thought about it because I wrote down the quote. I'm like, what happened? All right, listeners, if you know what happened in that moment, let us know. Oh, I also love the scene between Charlie and Tori on the bus.
Yes.
Where she's asking him who his dream guy would be. And he just says, look, I don't have a lot of choices. I just would like somebody who's nice to me. I love Charlie so much, but oh my gosh, so heartbreaking. Yeah. And you just see his development as a character and the way he's finally able to, like, that conversation he had with Ben, I think is really important too. I just love the way his character grows because he stands up for himself and he says, of course you don't have to come out with you're not ready, but you still have to treat me like a human being is basically what he's saying. And I think that is so important that he's not pressuring him to announce that he is gay to the school. He just doesn't want him to be a jerk. And that Ben can't see that there is a difference between those two things says what you need to know about that character.
Absolutely. And I feel like for him, I thought all of that was conveyed really well, just that he just doesn't care about Charlie at all. So it doesn't matter to him. I mean, gosh, such a jerk.
Yes.
But I mean, I think we see, in Charlie's conversation with Tori, we see how he feels like he has to take whatever he can get.
Yeah.
And not that he even, I mean, it's not like he's dying for someone to kiss him. I don't think that's what it is. It's that he just wants connection to other people.
Yeah.
But because he feels that he has to just take whatever he can get, he then puts up with these horrific things. And absolutely, Jen, I think you're right that we see this moment where he stands up for himself and that is so pivotal for him.
I think Nick is a big part of that because with no romance in the picture, he sees a talent that Charlie has and invites him to become a part of something. And it's something that, is very foreign to him and his friends. They are not rugby players, as Tal says, but Nick, and he doesn't just invite him on and then abandon him. He helps him. He works with him. He's such a good friend. He's so sweet. And you can see how that would then give Charlie the confidence to say to Ben, no, you have to treat me, again, like a human being, like someone who exists in the world outside of our makeout sessions. And I think that Nick's care for him as a friend is part of what gives him that confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, I was thinking of other things that I found striking. I was amazed by how often phones were an integral part of the pilot. But then I realized that's so much the way kids communicate.
Absolutely.
I mean, I thought that was interesting to watch too, just to realize that that's such an important part of friendships for teenagers now. And that I noticed it in the book, but it was not nearly as apparent to me. Whereas watching the show, I really felt it. But again, we see the development of Charlie through his texting. We really start to see how he's navigating that inner self and then what he shows to other people and how he's learning to, even though we watch him edit and edit and edit what he wants to show, he at least is standing up for himself, like with Ben.
Yeah, I was so proud of him. And in some of those moments when he just says, he's practicing what he wants to say or working through what he wants to say, but ultimately he just says, I'm not going to see you anymore. And I think that's great, right? That he doesn't have to rationalize. It's just, it is what it is. Sorry.
Yeah. And like, there's no conversation to be had, it's just, you don't have to explain.
Right.
Yeah. And you don't have to show outrage, I think, But again, that wasn't enough because as we know, Ben is completely taking advantage of him. So even though he stands up for himself there, it hasn't totally resolved. But But again, thank goodness that Nick is also kind of intimidating,
Yes.
and so I think that has an effect. Not to mention Ben doesn't want his secret revealed.
Right.
And so there's that component too that protects Charlie. So
Yeah.
is there anything else you wanted to share, Jen?
Just that X at the end and that final text message that Charlie sends to Nick and the way they zoom in on it. Yeah, It made me giddy. I loved it so much. It really was I was like, should I watch the second episode? Can I get away with it? And I was like, no, because I'll totally mess up for this episode what happens in the first versus later. But
I had that debate too. I was like, could I keep going now? I think I'll probably say something that I shouldn't. But
I almost texted you to see if we should just do the first two. And I was like, it's not going to get any better. Then I'll just want to watch 3. So
right. Yeah, that whole scene with his mom. And like, again, in the original material, we really see the development between Nick and his mom. So we get to know them quite well. But I think in that scene, you see, again, that interior life of a teenager and then how that is different than the outer life with their family. And so, you see that sweet private moment of him receiving that message. Yeah, I loved it.
Very good. Oh, I can't wait to watch the rest.
I know, right? Well, thank you all for listening. If you are reading or watching Heartstopper, please let us know. We would love to hear your thoughts. You can always message us at Unabridged Pod. So, or you can, we've talked about Patreon does have a spot where you can comment. So feel free to comment on there too, and we can see that. Thanks for listening. Well, we hope you enjoyed that conversation about Heartstopper. Definitely makes me want to revisit because I haven't quite finished that series, so that sounds fun. We want to wrap up today with our Lit Chat game. This is Book Riot's Lit Chat game, and Jen is going to ask us a question.
Do you prefer to borrow books from the library or buy them?
Oh, 100% borrow. I am a huge Libby user, and I go there first, but I will also borrow the paper, like the hard copy from the library. Yeah, 100%. I'm definitely a library user. And these days, I almost never purchase the physical book, but I will buy the Kindle. Like I have the Kindle Paperwhite. Yes, Paperwhite. And I read that at night every night. And I do love that reading experience also. And so I will, if they don't have the library versions, like typically that's what I'm purchasing these days. What about you, Jen?
All the things.
I wondered where you go with this one.
Yeah.
I was like, Jen does all of that.
I love the library and I use it all the time. I have, 2, 3, 4 books checked out from there now, 2 print, 1 on my Kindle and 1 audio. And yeah, I love using the library and supporting the library and saving some money. But there are books, like there are certain authors who are auto-buy authors. For me, I like to have hard copies of their books. I will reread. And there are books I like to buy because I like to put them then on my shelves at school. And so, yeah, I do both. I used to hold on to my books forever, and I do purge them now more and donate them because I do run out of shelf space. I definitely buy fewer books than I used to, but I still do both.
Yeah, and that's true for me. So like when I was in the classroom, I bought a lot more books because I had a place to put them, and we had built-ins at our house in Virginia. And so I felt like I had some space, although ours were always filling up also. My partner is also a huge reader and an academic who very much likes to keep his books. So we have a lot of books. And then we've been in transit for a long time. And so I think that was where I really got into the library and ebooks, and I totally got away from print. But now Jen can see I have like lovely shelves again, and I have room on them. I have some space. So lately I've been like, ooh, maybe I do want to buy some of these books so that I can have them. Because a lot of the things I have loved over the last several years that have been my favorites, I don't have those books. And I would, at this point, I have a community that we talk about books, and like they would probably borrow them. And so there is a part of me. In fact, my birthday this last year, I did put books that I had already read but loved. I was like, any of these books, I would be happy to have a copy, which was kind of nice to have something that, would be an easy thing to acquire or to get me for a gift, but that I would be very happy to have. So we'll see. Well, thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed our discussion today, and we'll talk with you again soon. Thanks.
Do you have comments or opinions about what you heard today? We'd love to hear them. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at UnabridgedPod, or on the web at unabridgedpod.com for ways to support us. To get more involved, you can sign up for our newsletter, join a buddy read, or become an ambassador. Thanks for listening to Unabridged.